Some of the people helping to solve future violent crimes, just like that deadly hit and run, are currently learning on a small farm in southeast Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Our CBS 58's AJ Byatpour takes us to Platteville now, which is home to one of the nation's most unique death investigation programs. CBS 58 getting exclusive access to the students taking a final exam that is definitely a hands-on test.
We do want to warn you, though, some of you might find this story to be graphic, as the instructors do try to make these scenes very realistic.
I'll take photos then.
From documenting the scene,
deceased there, her name is Caroline Logan, C-A-R-O.
To debriefing with first responders.
There's a contusion consistent with blunt force trauma.
These future forensic scientists are put to the test at UW-Platteville's Forensic Investigation Crime Scene House. This is where 50 UW-Platteville students are taking their final exam for the death investigation course. Inside that house are 4 different death scenes staged, and the students will be graded on just how thoroughly they process those scenes. Those taking the test include those in the crime scene investigation program, which is geared toward police work, and the new death scene emphasis, which trains medical examiners.
Law enforcement comes more from finding out who did it, what's the physical evidence. We want to know what happened and who was this person. So we work together, but we're separate agencies. Jana Marie Truesdell is the professor, a forensic anthropologist. She's consulted medical examiners in Kenosha, Racine, and Waukesha counties. She will grade these students on 3 different tasks. So you have your photos, your body exam, and then your report, right? The 3. With each, Truesdell expects a detailed documentation. Smell, was coffee just made? Is breakfast, did they just have dinner? Of everything at the scene. If you can think of those flip books that's sort of an animation, when you flip the pages, they sort of make a movie. That's what they're doing with their photos. So every new space they step into, they have to take a photo. One thing we quickly picked up on is that for death scene investigators, words really matter. You're not even supposed to use the word blood in the initial notes. We call it rust-colored liquid or red-colored liquid because we don't know it's blood on scene, right? We have to be careful with our words. Me saying it's blood, then someone could just say, well, did you test it? Do you know that it is? And I'd have to say no. And then their next question would be, do you just make stuff up on scene then? Those experiencing this program, including Nicole Kisley, a junior from Cudahy,
Because I see where it came from the head.
say taking this test is very much like doing the actual job.
Working one-on-one with the officers on scene was very interesting and kind of got you into the real world a little bit.
The people who set up this house,
you can Airbnb it if you really wanted to.
Say that's the point.
And we try to make it as realistic as we can without it, getting a bit too much.
Willis Seward chairs the Criminal Justice and Forensic Investigation Department.
Understanding it in much more depth and having the time and practice to do it beyond just a compressed academy.
UW-Platteville is the first school in the Midwest to offer a bachelor's degree in forensic science. And as for the school's real-world success stories,
Cassie Strandberg recently visited us, and she's over at Milwaukee PD.
LeSueur singles out the Milwaukee Police Department, where 6 of the 11 civilian crime scene investigators are UW-Platteville grads. They're supervised by Cassie Strandberg, a class of 2018 graduate who remembers her first campus visit, which included seeing the crime scene house.
And I was like immediately, this is where I'm going, because they had the opportunity to do a lot of hands-on work there.
In early 2023, MPD started a civilian crime scene investigator unit. Strandberg was hired to be one of 5 supervisors overseeing both sworn detectives and civilian forensic scientists.
And it's a way to be part of the criminal justice field without actually being a police officer.
By having students who know the actual proper standards, you can make sure that justice is carried out in a fair and correct process.
But Truesdell says her biggest lesson is that to properly determine how someone died, you must appreciate life.
I tell people, death is about the living, right? So it's the living that need the rituals. It's the living that want to say goodbye. It's the living that have this.
You're helping people who are going through a traumatic time with loss of family, loss of friends.
Some deaths might be peaceful and straightforward. Others are violent and complex. But to at least some extent, every death needs an explanation.
Nobody thinks about it until they sort of have to. But there are people who it is their job, and you want to make sure that they're doing that job well.
And to be clear, this is more than just a single class. Forensic investigation is an entire program at UW-Platteville. We had access to the final exam
for that one death investigation class, but there are a total of 18 courses in that program. They range from studying decomposition to the finer points of courtroom testimony.
And you might have touched on it a little bit in that piece, but are there different career paths within that program?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, originally the focus was on students who want to go work in law enforcement, as we saw with Cassie, that alumni who now works at MPD. But the newer aspect of this program is more geared toward folks who want to work in a medical examiner or coroner's office.
Makes sense.
So interesting to get a glimpse of that training. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
AJ, thank you.